Hello, welcome to my drumming. This is part 13 and we're going to do a song today called Sex on Fire by Kings of Leon. Now this has a lot of parts in it which like previous videos, very similar to things that we've learned already. So if I say yes, it's in a previous video, then check out some of the previous ones that we've done. So I won't go and spend too much time on a lot of stuff that we've previously done just to avoid a bit of repetition, but we'll still go through every single pattern and then go through the entire song at the end. So you have it up front. Here's the music for the song now. And after having a look at the music from the song, you'll see that there's 3 sheets of song music, different patterns that actually go into it, so we'll run through those now. So the very beginning of the song, there's a 4-bar count on the way in, just a 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, up to 4. Then there's 1 beat, and then the song comes in with a quick hi-hat, like that. And then straight into pattern 1, which is an 8 count. The bass drum comes in on the 1 and the 5, and the snare drum comes in on the 3. Now on the actual song, I think the 7 beat is done with a floor tom and a tambourine. But what I'm doing here is I'm just putting the floor tom on beat 7. So pattern 1 does this. Much faster in the song, it's and then a lot of the patterns throughout the song are just variations on that. So pattern 2 is exactly the same, but instead of the floor tom coming in on beat 7, it's just the snare drum. So pattern 3 is exactly the same, but with open hi-hats. Pattern 4 is the same again, but with the cymbal at the beginning. Pattern 5 is the same again, but with a cymbal on beat 1 and beat 5. So it goes like this. Now pattern 6 comes in at the beginning of the 3rd verse. Now normally what we do is we're counting 8 beats in the pattern, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now what we're going to do, instead of doing 8 beats, we're going to do 16 beats. So it would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and all the way up to 8 and. So if we were just playing that through on the hi-hat with the bass drum's going to come in on the 1 and the 5. So okay, so it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and. But pattern 6, if you look on the music, it's missing out some of those 1 and 2 and beats. So the 1 and the 2 and is played, the 4 and is played, the 5 on its own, then the 6 and is played, and the 8 and is played. Now that sounds a bit complicated because the bass drum still comes in on the 1 and the 5, the snare drum is still coming in on the 3, and the floor tom is coming in where the 7 beat should be. So slowly it sounds like this. and then quickly in the song it sounds like this. Pattern 7 is the end of one of the verses going into the chorus, so it's the beginning of the normal beat and then there's a load of quavers played on the snare drum. So the beat we're doing is a 1, 2, 3, 4, but pattern 7 is the first 3 beats of that and then with quavers on the snare drum. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, now with bass drum added, there's a couple of bass drums coming in as we're playing the quavers. Okay. Pattern 8 is again another bit, just appears once in the song. The first beat is on the hi-hat and the bass drum, and then there's quavers on the snare drum and going onto the cymbal. So okay, I'll do that one more time. Pattern 9 is 4 simple beats. The first is on the snare drum, the remaining 3 on the bass drum. So the snare comes in on the first beat and the bass drum then comes in on 3, 5 and 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then pattern 10 is just the bass drum on the odd beats. 1, 3, 5, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pattern 12 is right at the end of the song, and instead of the snare drum coming in on beats 3 and 7, it comes in on beats 2 and 6. So I'll play it slowly. Now you notice the difference, that the beat sounds completely different just because the snare drum has moved forward 1 beat. So what I'll do is I'll play 2 patterns of the regular snare drum coming in on 3 and 7 and then change the snare drum to 2 and 6 so you can hear the difference. Got that? Pattern 13 is the very end of the song. 2 simple beats played on the bass drum, mid-tom and floor tom. Just a, and that's the end of the song. Okay? And pattern 11, now that is, it's not really something that I can explain all the way through easily. The bass drum is thumping all the way through pattern 11, and pattern 11 is made up of 8 bars. So the bass drum is then coming through on the 1, the 3, the 5 and the 7 all the way through, and then there's bits added on the toms. So for the first 3 bars it's a quaver on the floor tom and the mid tom. So just with the bass drum only, I'll play 4 beats, then I'll bring the quavers in so you can hear how it goes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the 4th bar brings in another set of quavers. So instead of at the beginning of the bar on the first beat, they're coming in on the 5th beat as well. So just double the amount of quavers. Now bar 5 is a single beat on the floor and mid, then the floor and high, and then the floor and mid tom whilst the bass drum is driving through. So I'll do a 4 count introduction first and then add in those toms so you see how that's added. then bars 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 are the same, but without one of the mid and floors added. So I'll do a 4-count introduction in first. So the final bar in that is made up of 8 quavers, but 1 note is missing at the beginning of the second quaver. So instead of 1 and 2 and, it's 1 and rest and. Okay? So I'll play 4 bass drum beats first to get the introduction, and then I'll play the beat. Okay, so it's 1 and da 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 da. Okay, and that's it. That's the whole song played through in the patterns. So what we'll now do is we'll go into the full song all the way through, played through, play along with it. Hopefully you enjoy it. As ever, any questions, please shout. that was there, I think. So hopefully you enjoyed playing along to that, listening to it, and yeah, give it a go. Let me know what you think. Let me know if it's helpful, and I'll see you in the next part. Cheers. Bye.